I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
The woke way Vice President Harris introduced herself at a roundtable this week is highlighting the growing frustration Americans seem to have with the left's pronoun preoccupation. And a new study finds that 62% of likely voters think that the gender activists have just gone too far, especially when it comes to all the different ways we now refer to people. Meantime, Merriam-Webster's online dictionary is also getting into the act, now out with this secondary definition of female as, quote, having a gender identity that is the opposite of male. Kennedy.
Whoa. It's very interesting. It's a lot to keep track of, and you never want to offend somebody. My frustration is when one person uses so many pronouns, it's like, I will be she and they, but you have to alternate, or else you've violated some silent contract. And that's, it's like, I want to honor you if you want to identify as a goat. I will milk you and do whatever it takes to make a nice block of feta. But
how did you know how I wanted to be identified?
But just extend people a little bit of grace because they are trying. But it's almost too many. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, to that point, the hard part is often the repercussions, right? As we are all trying to respect each other, it seems like the repercussions are totally disproportionate from an accidental, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean, I didn't know. People are getting fired, people are getting prosecuted, people are getting shunned for trying to do the right thing.
I'm all about choice. So if you choose to use a pronoun, that's great, or pronouns. If you want to be a goat, if you choose not to, then choose not to. But I don't think that people should be mocked or ridiculed if they choose to do it. I'm going to give you an example. It happened to me. I was at a meeting and everybody said, my name is Jane Smith and my pronouns are she, her, and everybody, and it got to me, well, I'm like, I'm Leslie Marshall, my pronouns are she, her, because you kind of want to peer pressure, right? You get in with it. I've been to conferences where they ask you, how do you identify? I identify as female. I'm a female, I identify as such. I'm not offended by it. I'm not confused by it. It is new and it is something to get used to, and change is something that we all as human beings have a difficult time with. But there are people out there, my own children, who have fun with it. My son wants to be called Wolf, and jokingly, and my husband wants us to call him the Lord, but that hasn't happened in our house.
And meanwhile, Jason, it's really permeating, every part of society. So when I did the City Bike app the other day to do a bike on the street, it asked me what my pronouns were. Why does a bicycle app need to know my pronouns? As our public education system is failing, we are losing footing on the global stage in so many arenas, and yet for some reason now this is where we're spending our time.
I agree with the 62% of Americans that say, hey, this has gone too far. I really do think it gets to the point of some degree of absurdity. And trying to force it on other people, I think this is where they lose their own cause and try to force people and shame people into doing it. And I also think for law enforcement, for birth certificates, things like that, I just think we're going in the wrong direction. We shouldn't have to succumb to that very, very, very small percentage of people that want to have us embrace everything that they're doing. I just don't think it should be forced upon us.
And Jackie, once you get into that void or vague realm, that Merriam-Webster definition, the opposite of male, I feel like that's circular logic, because, well, then what is male? The opposite of female, right? You go back and forth without that specificity. I'm not a biologist. Why can't someone just come out and say it?
And these are the conversations that we're having that I think are just mind-numbing to a certain degree. I agree, everybody should have a choice. I love everybody. You can be whatever you want to be, use whatever pronouns you want. But I think our political correctness is going too far, where we're almost alienating the majority now to cater to people who are sensitive to this particular issue. Having said that, you bring up this notion of teaching it in schools, right? Think about what we are teaching in schools, what we're arguing over day to day in America. Do you think China's teaching pronouns to its kindergarten kids? No. They're teaching them how to try to rule the world. And they're focused and they're rigorous and they're disciplined. And that's what we're missing in this country, because we keep having these conversations that are side conversations. Again, you can be whatever you want to be. That's great. And I embrace it. But we don't need to make that the focus of a meeting or how we introduce ourselves. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to what matters.
Right. Don't you feel, Leslie, like this is you know, this ancillary, having it be ancillary is one thing, but having it be primary, again, in so many different arenas, we're really suffering losses that Jackie has spoken about, especially in academia. So it seems like this distraction that has harmful effects on education and advancement.
Well, a few things. What are they teaching in China right now? Math, 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 math.
Right.
And
Math's beautiful. They should teach that here.
You've seen my son's algebra grades, obviously. To your point, why are we catering to a minority of people and, you know, disregarding the 62%? I don't think we are. I think that, how did we get here, right? How we got here is that minority of people wasn't perhaps as much a minority as we thought. And especially our children, who are part of the LGBTQ community, especially the children that are trans, and how they were more than marginalized, how they were offended and they were ignored, whether it was within our school systems or just within our systems in general. So I don't think it's a big deal if it's on the bike app, if they're more.
Why do you have to introduce yourself at a meeting with your pronoun?
I don't have to. It's a choice. I've never been forced.
Right.
I do like calling people sir and ma'am. I think it's polite.
I got called sir the other day.
I get called sir all the time, especially when I fly, because I wear like a hoodie and a baseball cap and no makeup. I'm like, hello, sir. I'm like, hello.
And I was like, yep.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.